It doesn't update data in an underlying table. It's just a specialized kind of unbound control. It has a calculation in it, and they could be simple math. It could be an aggregate function like a sum. It could be a count. It could be really any number of the expressions available within Access. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this subform to come up with a calculation for all of the records. Sorry about that. All of the records for this particular customer, right? Or is this customer? No, this is the client, right? So these are the lessons that this instructor, I guess, employee, if you would, has scheduled. So we want to find out a couple different things. Like we want to find out a count, and then we also want to get the sum of the fees, right? So both of those are very meaningful pieces of information. So in order to do that, we want to go to Design View, and this sometimes takes a little practice to get this correct thing. You want to click on the subform, so we have the orange box around it, and then with your pointer on the edge there, double click. See, I didn't do it. Okay. Nope. Gosh, I'm so sorry. No, you right click. So we're pointing to it, right click, click on it, get the border, right click, subform in new window. That's what we want to get to. So let's do it again. Click on the form, point to the edge of the orange line, right click, subform in new window. So now we have two tabs up there, and here's our subform, and notice it looks very different, and that's all right. But what we want to do here is we're going to add a footer to the subforms, because this is where we want to do our calculations. Because in order to get an aggregate like a count or a sum of all of the information, you need to have it in the footer. And so this is, I had this backwards, so this is the member, and then this is who the lesson is with. Yeah, now that it's making sense, I'm remembering it. Okay, so we opened up our footer space, and then I want to make sure I have my property sheet open, and I want to go in the data, and I need to make sure that so I have my property sheet, I'm in my subform, I've modified my footer. So what I need to do is I need to put a control here that's going to hold that calculated field. And it can't be a label, it needs to be a text box. So I'm going to click on this control, I'm on the Design tab, this control here. And notice all I'm doing is click, I'm not dragging, I click on it. When I come down in there, it switches to that AB. So then I'm just going to, where am I going to put it? 1 inch right here. So we're going to put it right there. Pop it in. We'll fix it around as we work on it. Do you notice it says unbound? And then the label is just says text 6 or whatever the next number is. It doesn't matter if your number here is different than mine, that's fine. In the property sheet then I want to start working on this. So the first thing is control source. It's unbound, so there's no control source, but I want to kind of add one, not that it's going to be bound, but I'm going to put this calculation in there. So I want to go to the expression builder, which is the ellipses, and it brings me up this expression builder. So up here at the top, I'm going to say, hey, I want the count. So I'm going to start typing count. I can hit tab. Count, left parentheses, and then in the expression category, I need to pick the field that I want to count. So I want to pick schedule date. All right. So I'm going to double click on schedule date and end my parentheses. So I am saying, hey, this is going to show me a count of schedule dates. So each record is going to get counted. Then I'm going to click OK, and it puts it right in there. The next thing I want to do is click on Other, and I'm going to give it a name. Instead of the name Text 6, I'm going to call it Lesson Count, and that's going to be important. The label is going to be, let's see, so we don't need any caption. We've got the name. All right, so the next thing we need to do is change this label. So we're done with the calculated control. We've got our formula. We've got it named, lesson count, all together, no space. Now I'm going to come over here to the text box, I'm sorry, the label that says text 6. In that one, I'm going to go to all. Right now we want to change the label, the caption, lesson space count. I can just type it in here if I want, or you could type it in the caption in the property sheet. We need to expand this so it displays, and I think we're done with those two things. If I flip over, never mind. Let's do the sum and then we'll go on. So we're going to do the same process for the sum. So I'm going to click on the text box. I'm going to drop it on my sheet in the footer. For my unbound control, in my data control source, I'm going to bring my expression builder up. So that was the ellipses. I'm going to start by doing equal sum. This time I want to sum the fee field. So I'm going to use here and find fee. Make sure you don't do the label, but the fee. So I'm going to double click on fee, and that's all I want. So I'm going to click the ending parentheses, OK. In other, I'm going to change the name to fee total. So that's good. The text box, the label that says text 8, I'm going to change the caption from text 8 to fee space total. I'm going to change the size so that it can see the whole thing. And I'm good to go for that. I want to save it. I want to close out of this subform. So I saved it. I'm on the subform. I close. I'm back to my main form. You may get this funky little thing. That's all right. It needs to refresh. So I'm going to click on the main form, but notice nothing here happens because those are on the subforms footer, and the subform footer doesn't show here. So we need to fix this main form. So let's go to design view for that, right? So on this one in the form footer, let's see where they want us to put it. Okay, so what they want us to do is put those two values right here between the text or the bound controls and the subform. So we want to pull those in. So how the heck do we do that? Well, we're going to start by really the same way. We're going to do a text box, select a text box, and we're going to come in here and just kind of pop it in. Worry about it later. We go to our data, control, pick the builder. This time what we want to do is, we're not really doing a calculation. What we're going to do is we're just going to find the control that we made in the subform and find that field and bring it forward, right? So in this expression elements, we need to, because right now we're in this fixed, but we want to get the data. The data is not on fixed, it's in this subform, right? But the subform is attached, linked to this fixed. So if you look at this elements, do you see how there's a plus sign? If I click that, it's going to bring that subform up. If I click on that subform, now I see all of the elements that are on that subform, right? So let's think that through. So I need to go and bring that count and that sum calculation that we did on this subform forward to this main form. So in order to do that, I have to select the subform first. And I do that in this elements by clicking on the plus sign. I click on subform. Now I see my categories and I can look at and find the field that I want. And so the first one was lesson count, right? And that's why we wanted to do make it a nice name that we understand. So lesson count, we're going to double click, and it's going to put this from this subform, it's going to pull this field. So we're going to go ahead and say OK. And now what we want to do is we want to name this text box to something. So we're going to go to other, and instead of text 50, we're going to name it lesson count, right? And then we're going to take the label that's associated with it, and we're going to change the caption for that label to lesson space count, and then we're going to open up our box. So you see it works the same way. The process is the same. It's just where you're doing it and what you're putting in that calculation. So let's walk through the next one, which is the I can't think of what I'm thinking. The sum, right? So so we're going to start the same way, right? We're going to click on the text box. We're going to pop it in here. It's unbound. I want to go to control source, ellipses. It brings up my expression builder. I know that the thing that I want to bring forward is not found on this form, but rather the subform. So I click on the subform. I use the middle section to find it. So it's fee total. I double click. OK. I go to other. I change the name to something meaningful. It's going to be fee total all together. I click on the label next to it, and the caption there is going to be fee space, I'm sorry, total space fees, right? And then let's see, if I'm going to go back to, okay, so the one last thing that I need to do on this is change the format. So we just want to make this currency, and I'm running out of time. So I click on format, I'm going to find currency, and I'm good. All right, let's save it, and I'll pick that up on the next move.